Welcome to Ferryhouse, where I'm going to have the pleasure of Robbie Power's company to relive some Irish Grand Nationals. Easter Monday states Irish Grand National Day. That has been the case in all bar 2 years, when in '98 Paris Valley won it on a Saturday, and after foot and mouth when Easter had gone, the Irish National was run on a Tuesday. But next Monday will be Easter Monday, and 30 horses will assemble round about here somewhere, Robert, for the start of the Irish National. 24 fences, 3 miles, 5.5 furlongs. That's going to be chaos here.
Always is in here. It gets very tight. Runners will go down, look at the first fence, walk back down, try and assemble in here. If Joe Bannon's lucky, get them away first time, but I'd say it'll take 2 or 3 attempts.
What's your first ride in the Irish National? What's your first memory of it?
First memory of the Irish Grand National was claiming 7 off 10 stone for Pat Hughes, for then to arrive at the racecourse at 11 o'clock and Pat telling me he wasn't running.
What was your first ride though?
My first ride in the Irish National was for Jesse, horse called Well Presented.
Well Presented.
He went off favourite actually.
What's your first memory of it though? You're from Ferryhouse, you're local.
Desert Orchid. I was a kid, I was 10 years of age when Desert Orchid was here. Richard Dunwoody, who was my hero growing up, and to be here to see the two of them winning the Irish Grand National in emphatic style was a really got the fire burning in my belly.
That was in 1990. I can just about remember Brittany Bay in '87, Paris Valley in '88, but we've all heard the stories. Your dad is steeped in show jumping, mine was steeped in horse racing, Arkle, Flying Bull, Tye Cottage, Brown Lad. Did your dad talk much about Irish Nationals as you were growing up?
Oh, of course he did, yeah, sure. Like Ferryhouse, 15 minutes from me, it's the race of Ireland basically, you know, it's a huge race. Easter Monday is a huge day, the crowds assemble, and like you named them all off there. Arkle, you know, every conversation that's held about the Irish Grand National, Arkle's mentioned, Flying Bolt is mentioned. It's just a huge race, isn't it?
It is. Tye Cottage, Brown Lad. There was one I was looking up, or doing a bit of history homework. Brown Lad was supposed to run in the Sun Alliance in Cheltenham, was called off. He bolted in the stairs hurdle instead, because the track was waterlogged, and came back here with 10-8, Tommy Carberry, and won first at 3 Irish Nationals. He was some certainty. People talk about big bucks going back from a Hennessy to a stairs hurdle. Jim Draper was doing it in the 70s. But it is a great race. As you said, Ferryhouse is pretty much square. I always thought of it as square.
Yeah.
So you start there, you run straight up to Ballyhack, 3 fences, plain ditch, plain, but they'll fly to this first fence.
Absolutely. It's down to the first fence like a 2-mile chase, 30 runners, everyone trying to get in position. But you've great width to the fences in Ferryhouse. You've the whole width of the track. You spread out. I lined up in the Irish Grand National everywhere, down the inside, in the middle. Our Duke out in that white rail. Jesse says going out, don't get brought down, get into a rhythm. I lined up out there. I thought we could over the first 3 fences to get into a rhythm. You're in a dead straight line. You don't need to worry about tucking in until you get to Ballyhack.
Funny, yeah. I lined up. I never lined up out there. No, I couldn't see the point of being out there. But Comanche Court, number 6 Valverde, Borough Said, and Papillon was the first horse I rode in the National. '98. I was only an amateur. Charlie Swan had actually ridden him in '97. I rode him in '98. I lined him up handy towards the inside, and I had a great position by the time we got to Ballyhack, but I ran into trouble there, and
that was it.
I'm blaming that for losing that race, but I think it was my overexcitement going to the 5th last that might have cost him that race.
It is around Ferryhouse though. 3 fences up for Ballyhack, 3 fences coming down from Ballyhack, 3 fences across the straight, and 3 fences in the straight. A good jumper is a huge advantage around here.
It is, but the first Nationals I rode in, there was only 2 in the straight. There was only 2 when I rode Bobby Joe. There used to be one after the winning post. I didn't ride Bobby Joe when I rode Papillon and Bobby Joe beat him. There was only 2 there now. I think 3 is a huge help in the straight here.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it as long, it makes it more about jumping. But as you say, and we can look at it, look at the width of the first fence, 30 runners or not, there's room for everyone.
There's room, loads of ample room, dead straight line, fences are beautifully well presented. As I say, that's why novices have such a good record in the race, because they have a bit of experience coming through the whole season, and a good jumping novice is always a horse around here that you look to ride.
So Robert, we've walked up here to Ballyhack, what will be the 4th fence on the first circuit, 16th on the 2nd circuit. It's the highest point of the track. This is what's known as Ballyhack.
Ballyhack, yeah. You've climbed
Where is Ballyhack?
It's over there somewhere. You've climbed up, yeah. As you said, the highest point of the track. This on the 2nd circuit was where I always used to like to get a breather in. Climb the hill, turn the corner, let them pop this, land and fill themselves, cruise down the hill then to another plane and then a ditch, heading back for home. All the banks on the left hand side, probably before my time, but you probably rode in them banks were full of people, were they?
I did, yeah, but there used to be hundreds of people on this bank. I guess you said, slagging me about how much older I am than you, but yeah, I can remember the videos of this bank being lined with people, and I suppose you watch back at the Tom Draper days in that era, with Draper's not a stone's throw from here. You can imagine how popular Ferryhouse was. But yeah, look, this fence, first national I rode in, Papillon almost got brought down here, fence number 4. Andrew Thornton fell in front of me and I went from a great position to nowhere. But yeah, I can remember jumping down here on Borough Saint and looking at Paddy Kennedy in front on one of Jesse's that hadn't come back in the Leopardstown chase, and thinking, oof, I better go after that. But yeah, as you say, it's downhill from here to the next, which is the 5th. But I find Ferryhouse almost rides downhill from here.
It does, yeah, definitely. And even when you turn into the straight, you'll see later on, you start to run downhill to the third last, from the back of the third last. But this as well, I always found the tightest part of the track. This bend was quite sharp, and this fence comes up quick off the bend. I always found was the one. You said you nearly got brought down here on Papillon. It was the one fence where things did get quite congested.
They do, and it's funny enough, that's why you often see Freewheeling Dillon and Lord Lariat, the last 2 winners, have made all. Ger Fox made all on Rogue Angel. Like, if you can get up to here without burning too much energy, and because of the nature of this track being down almost downhill, it's a track that does suit horses who are closer to the front and the back.
Yeah, the Irish National definitely is a race you wanted. You need a horse with good cruising speed that can sit close enough to the pace. I remember when I won an Hour Duke, myself, Andrew Lynch and Noel Feely were gone 10 or 15 lengths clear of the rest of the field from this point, and I was in my comfort zone, but you got so much ground on the rest of the field. They had to work then to close on us when we were filling up,
and there's no undulation to slow you down, so they have to burn petrol to get to you. But look, as we said initially, so you had 3 straight up to Ballyhack, you have 3 straight down from Ballyhack. It's such a fair track.
Oh, it is, yeah. They can tuck in the bends, but as I say, we said earlier on, the full width of the track and loads of space for a horse to get into a rhythm.
That's the last ditch. It's 7 from home in the background. I got a few right falls at it. Have you?
I have, not in the Irish Grand National. I actually don't think I ever got a fall in the Irish Grand National.
Oh, too great.
Yeah. But I had a few hurlers down here in other chases. Horse at Jesse's in a beginner's chase one day. The 2 of us ended up about 6 inches away from the back of it.
Yeah, can't happen. But a lot changes from the back of that ditch. We'll go there next, will we?
Yeah, definitely.
So we've walked down, Robert, to the back of the 7th fence. It'll also be the 6th last on the 2nd circuit. But when you were riding Our Duke, were you still out here going the scenic route, or had you gotten a bit competitive?
No, I tucked in after 3 fences. Got a bit of light over the first 3 and then tucked in. Our Duke was a big horse, there was no problem getting back in.
Push your way in.
Yeah.
But Grand Nationals can be, there's no set way of looking at them. I know when I rode number 6 Valverde, I was behind a load of horses here. When I rode Comanche Court, there was only 2 or 3 in front of me. When I rode Borough Saint, there was only 1 in front of me. You were up there on Our Duke. Desert Orchid was up there. It can be 2 different ways of looking at it. I know when I was second on Bless the Wings, Rogue Angel was in front, but there was still a lot of horses involved here. It can be a race that's been blown apart, or it can be absolutely jam-packed.
Yeah, that's the dimensions of a race changes from year to year, doesn't it? Just depends on what pace is in the race, what the ground is like, how fast they've gone. Generally, the way racing has gone now, they'll go fast up over the first 3 or 4 fences, and then whoever's in front is always trying to slow things down. So when you turn around to after jumping 6 out, heading for 5 out, you'd imagine there's going to be 15 horses still in with a chance of winning an Irish National.
Robert, one of the changes we mentioned in Ferryhouse has been 3 fences in the home straight compared to 2 in the good old days. The second last used to be around about where we are now. So the third last fence is back. It's only 50 yards, but it makes a difference.
That does, yeah, and pushing the fence back closer to the bend makes it better as well. It's a bit leveler back there than where the old second last used to be. You'd often see a horse jump the second last and jump it well and knuckle over at the back of it.
Yeah, I remember watching videos of Dad riding Tarquestrian in the 80s, coming to win here. Eddie Mack and owned him, Sean Daly trained him, going to win, and he fell at the second last. I thought when I jumped it on Papillon I was going to win, and then Paul Carberry appeared beside me and Bobby Joe. But it was a long run from the old second last to the last. Now with 3 fences in the straight, it makes it a jumping test down here.
It does, and it also just delays jockeys making that move for home a bit longer as well.
I wish there was 3 when I rode Papillon.
But it does. I mean, when you jump the second last, your first focus now is not on the winning post, or the third last, I say. Your first focus now is not on the winning post. You're running slightly downhill. It's the second last. You need another good jump here, before you start concentrating on getting
It's
the last
funny,
one.
I'd say that the 3 fences definitely helped Burrow staying to win. I'm not sure he stayed when he was a good jumper, and the extra jumping and being well handicapped helped him. I know when I rode number 6 Valverde, it was the jumping that cost Jack high. He got laboured in front. Our Duke was only a novice. Why did novice? I know novices are ahead of the handicappers, but why did they come to the 4 in this race, being such a jumping test?
Probably because it's at the end of the season, so they have a little bit of experience. Now our Duke's only having his 4th run, but and he wasn't the most natural starting off over fences. But I suppose it's a fair track. You can get into a nice rhythm around here. As we said, 30 runners, but there's plenty of space around here. You can find it. You can get a novice into a good rhythm. I've had a few bad rides off novices around here now as well, so it works both ways. A classy novice though, he was a classy novice, you know, that's the kind of novice you want. A classy novice will get away with it, an ordinary novice won't.
I know, and that's, look, on the other side of the coin then, we spoke about Lord Larry at Freewheel and Dillon. They were brilliant jumpers. These extra fences down here, Rogue Angle, I couldn't get him back on Bless the Wings. I know that last fence almost caught Desert Orchid, but good jumpers, and he was a brilliant jumper, Desert Orchid. Good jumpers come to the fore here.
Yeah, they do, absolutely. As we said, 12 fences on a round. Every time you turn a corner, there's 3 more fences in front of you. So it definitely suits good jumpers. And now with the 3 in the straight, even better again.
And I suppose when you watch the videos of the olden days, there's the footage of Thai Cottage winning, and the crowd is in on the track. Arkle, Flying Bolt, Brown Lad. The people used to be in, and the hunt horses coming down here. The Ward Union hunt horses.
Yeah.
Ward Union here,
yeah.
and the Ward Union hunt horses trying to keep the spectators back off the track.
They'd be halfway across the fence. You'd be coming down to the fence, and you could see lads be looking at Arkle coming towards them, like, you know. So yeah. It's all changed now.
But it is a focal point in me, the Irish National, for the area. A lot of people come from the north down as well. I remember, was it the year after COVID, and the crowd started singing before the race started? You can get some atmosphere there.
Oh, the atmosphere here, and it's a close, compact enclosure. Everything is close together. It's huge in the local area. I remember the first job I got the year after I won the Irish Grand National was the next year I had to go into Ratoath and judge which shop had done the best job on their windows. All the shops do up Irish Grand National things on their windows, so that was the job, to pick the winner of the best dressed up shop.
I thought you were going to turn on the Christmas lights or something in Ratoath. Just dressing windows.
Dressing windows, yeah.
But look, on Easter Monday, somebody else will have to go and judge the best dressed window in Ratoath, because there will be an Irish National winner.